Bro, abortion, is it murder or not?
No, it's not murder.
Really? So killing a child is not murder?
It's not a child.
You know why you call it a fetus? Or why you say it's not a baby? Because this minimizes the guilt. Yes. Because if you call it a fetus, you're dehumanizing it. Why are you laughing?
Because what human
Why are you laughing?
Because you're not human yet.
Have you ever seen how an abortion takes place? Have you seen it? Exactly my point. Anything you can even imagine, anything that is existing in reality. So basically, absence of everything, yeah. Does it exist? Definitely not. Not probably. The reason is because it's a concept. Yeah, not every concept needs to exist. You can use it in words. Yeah, it has a meaning. But when I ask you, show me in reality where it's nothing, you won't be able to show me.
It's like consciousness.
No, consciousness does exist, but you can't show it empirically.
Do you use that theory to prove that God exists?
No, we're still getting there. So I haven't. So we have ruled out the universe creating itself. We have ruled out it came from nothing. So what is the only other plausible explanation for the existence of the universe? Because we know the universe exists, right? It must have an explanation as to where it came from.
What if you say that the universe always existed?
Yeah, but science doesn't prove that. It goes against science itself.
Well, then you can't prove that God exists.
No, we are coming there. I've not even come yet. I'm going. This is called deductorism. So we basically, whatever we can discard, whatever we can rule out, we do that, and that's what we are doing. So we're going step at a time. So we know that the universe does exist, all right? So the natural question would be, where did it come from? Just like if I asked you, where did you come from? You say, from my parents. Where did they come from? Their parents, and so on, Like there is an explanation because there is a cause for everything that began to exist. You began to exist, you have a cause, your parents, yeah? They began to exist, they have a cause. The universe also began to exist. Yes, because the scientists themselves say it is something like 13.8 billion years old. See what I mean? So it does have a beginning. And anything that begins to exist must have a cause. So we have ruled out nothing caused the universe. Nothing doesn't exist in reality, is a concept. We have ruled out the possibility of the universe creating itself, because at one point it didn't exist. So there's no way it could have created itself. See what I mean? So what is the only plausible explanation left now? Can you think of something?
Well, in your eyes, it's probably the...
Forget about me, talk about you. You are a person who perhaps uses critical thinking. So using your faculty of reasoning and your critical thinking, what is the only other possibility that could explain this?
Okay, God, yeah, but I don't think it makes sense to me, at all.
No, but if it's not God, then what makes sense? That's a question to you.
I don't know.
Exactly. So you see, I don't know is not an answer.
That's why
It is appeal to an ignorance. The reason I'm saying that this is an appeal to ignorance is because it must have a cause. Because the universe already exists, right? If it already exists, it must have a cause for something to bring it into existence. Someone or something. See what I mean? So the only plausible explanation, okay, using Occam's razor, we say that this being which brought the universe into existence must itself not be caused. Okay? So it is a first cause and an uncaused cause. Does it make sense? Yeah? You know why we cannot keep having an infinite line of causation? Because of infinite regress, which is again an impossibility. So you cannot have an infinite chain of causation. The reason is because if you did, then we wouldn't exist at all.
So you have to come to the uncaused cause.
Yeah. There must be a first cause to bring all of this into existence. And that first cause must have certain attributes. For example, like I said, it must not be caused itself. So hence the first cause. And also it must be eternal, because if something is not caused, then it must be eternal. And also it must have certain abilities, like bringing things into existence, like everything in the universe. Yeah. So these are like I said, the most fundamental, basic understanding of someone who brought this into existence. And of course, that being must have a will to do things. See what I mean? Because if you don't have a will, then even though you want to do something, you won't be able to do it. So these are, like I say, people call in philosophy the necessary being. That means it is necessary for the being to exist in order for everything else to exist that we see around.
Have you heard of Aristotle?
The Greek philosopher.
Greek philosopher. He's the one that came with the notion, the necessary being.
Yeah.
So even in philosophy, they admit that. So if you study...
Well, I mean, the Greek stuff is not real anyway.
Sorry?
That's not real.
All the modern philosophy is built on the... Yeah.
The Western, mostly the Western philosophy.
Yeah. But
So how can that be built on it if it's not real in itself?
Sorry, say again?
the philosophy not real.
No, Greek.
Greek not real.
The Greek. Like,
Haven't you heard about Plato, Aristotle?
So these are Greek philosophers.
Socrates?
Yeah.
I don't believe in that.
No, it's not about you believing. These are their concepts, their ideas that they
came
pioneered
up with.
according to the Western world. Yeah.
So and you have got people nowadays who have got a high IQ that believe in these things and they build up on these things.
So anyway, how does it sound to you so far? What I've explained. Rather than just dismissing, even if you want to dismiss it, I would rather you give me an explanation as to why you would dismiss this understanding. See what I mean? Your background is Hinduism. Have you looked into Hinduism? Not at all? Okay.
I don't think I'm like educated at all, like anything about religion or anything.
But this is not, look, you know the questions I asked you, I did not bring religion into it at all, right?
Yeah.
I've just used like logic, rationality, deductive reasoning, all these things. Because you know, there are certain things you can look around and I'm okay, Jazakallah khair. I'll take later on. So you can come to certain understanding without even having the background of a religious teaching or something like that. So you see, that's why the Quran tells you to ponder on things beyond the horizon and within yourself, right? To establish the truth, to look at the truth. So you see, the more the scientists, they invent the tools to see the further they see the universe, the more complex it seems. Yeah, because before there was the James Webb telescope, then we had it was a Hubble telescope, and then we had the James Webb telescope, and now we can see the horizon further away than what we could see previously. And every time they see further away, they are amazed with the complexity and the structure, and also the way it's organized
and the expansion.
Yeah. So many things in the Quran are mentioned like this. So Allah is telling you to ponder on what He has built, what He has created. Okay, and take the galaxies, which have like billions of stars in it. Yes, I mean look at our star, the sun. It's massive, isn't it? There are suns which can take maybe millions of suns like ours is equal to one of that sun. And they are also like far away, and there are many other suns, trillions of them. If anyone says that all of this just came by accident, then I think the person is not even thinking about what is out there. And also look, everything is in order. You don't see the planets colliding with each other.
Why can't it be by accident?
Because that's the thing, accident doesn't have order. Accident is unorderly and it's chaotic. See what I mean? So, have you seen anything that has appeared which is usable to you that just came about by accident? Even the things that happen in nature, like take example diamonds or gold or some precious metals. Yes, if you look at the way that they actually come into being, yes, there's a process behind it. The natural laws in the universe themselves, they show us that this is done through an orderly fashion. Because if the law of gravity is such that it has certain properties, yes, that it depends on, for example, the mass of the body, where the gravity pull is higher, for example, yes. And if you look at the universe, it's the same. This pull, depending on the mass, will be like all over the universe. It's the same, yeah. So there's a relation with mass and with gravity. And that's the reason I'm saying the laws of the universe. Take, for example, the law of thermodynamics. All the three laws of thermodynamics, yeah, they are consistent throughout the universe. And one of the laws of thermodynamics, why the universe cannot be eternal, yes, is entropy, the second law of thermodynamics. It basically shows that anything that that has momentum, for example, yeah, like for example, take a top, you know, the top, the spinning top, yes, it has certain momentum and then it comes to a halt. So the energy gets spent, and when the energy is spent, then it's useless. The motion stops.
So what does that prove?
It proves that everything has a certain time when the entropy gets bigger than whatever energy it had left is been spent. So the universe can't keep on expanding, for example. It can't keep this on for eternity.
But the universe is expanding.
I know it is, yeah.
always expanding.
I know, but what I'm saying for eternity.
Yeah.
Just like there, at one point, you know how they found out the age of the universe? Because they calculated how fast it's expanding, for example. They looked at other things, and then they realized now that it's expanding, at one point it must have been like really, if you collapse it and go back in time, it must collapse to a singularity.
But it's not going to stop growing.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
Because if it's
No one has seen the future, so you can't say it'll keep on growing. It's like me telling you, okay, you got a balloon, yeah? And if you inflate the balloon,
Then
it'll
how do
keep
you
on
know-
inflating.
How do you know that it will come to a halt?
Because we know from the Quran. Like for example, Allah says in the Quran, long before the scientists found that the universe is expanding, it's written in there. And Allah also tells us in the Quran that it'll come to an end
But you
one
can't
time.
just believe it just like that. Like,
We have seen everything that's been mentioned in the Quran backed up to this day by naturalistic science. A lot of things. We have a lot of other things as well, like
I don't know enough to
prophecies.
say that. But
Say again?
I don't know enough to
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. So maybe you should look into it, read the book, and find out for yourself if you're interested. Also, there are many prophecies that are mentioned in the Quran. For example, when the Persians defeated the Romans, the Romans were annihilated. They were completely finished. And then Allah mentions that the Romans will defeat the Persians within a period of time, like 7 to 9 years, all right, 3 to 9 years, something like that. Very small duration. And that prophecy came true. So this passage of the Quran was revealed when the Persians had defeated the Romans. And the passage and the prophecy came true after exactly the time frame it was given within that period, that the Romans then defeated the Persians. Okay, that's just one example. There's another example that we find in the hadith of the Prophet, peace be upon him, like when they were surrounded and they built a trench around the city to protect themselves from the enemy. So they were besieged by the enemy in around this place, and they, in order to protect themselves, they built a trench. While they were building the trench, while they were digging the trench, there was a huge boulder, really big boulder, that the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, they tried to break it, it wouldn't break. Like they tried hard, really hard, wouldn't break. And then they came to him and they told him, this boulder is not breaking, can you help us? And then he struck the boulder once, and then when he struck it, he said something like, a time will come when so and so will be wearing the wristband or the bracelet of Khosrow, of the emperor of Persia. Yes, at that time, imagine Persia is like a superpower. Yes, undefeated. So the Prophet ﷺ at this time, they were at the mercy of basically their enemies. They could have finished them off at such a time when your anxiety, everything is quite high. When you know you're going to be killed, maybe in the next moment. At that time, if somebody makes this claim that you guys will be sitting in the place of the emperor of Persia, you'll say this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. See what I mean? So a time came when that same companion was basically having the bracelet of the emperor of Persia. So many of the prophecies did come true. Like this is, and it's not like one or two, they all came true. And they were not ambiguous either.
Are you saying that God also knows like what's going to happen in the future as well?
Yeah, of course.
So God has a plan for every single person on earth.
God knows everything that we're going to do in the future.
Okay. So I don't know like how to say it, but say if God has a like a script written, right? Like He knows what you're going to do.
Yeah.
What if you break it?
Say again?
What if you like break it?
What if you break it? You can't break it. Because He knows exactly what's going to happen in the future.
That doesn't make any sense.
Why? Which part doesn't make sense? Imagine your teacher has been teaching you throughout the year. Your teacher knows your class because she's been teaching the whole class for the whole year. She'll point out certain students who are going to fail. And when the exams come, they definitely fail. Is she wrong? Whom will you blame? The teacher who predicted this? Or the students who didn't work hard? That's how predictable they were. Whom would you blame? The teacher or the students in this case?
Or the students, yeah.
Exactly. So you can't tell God, just because He knows the future, that you would hold God accountable for your deeds, for example. Because many people think in that line. Like, what is the point of me doing good things if God already knows I'm going to hell? See what I mean? So this is not the way it works. You are still accountable for your deeds. You work within the will of God. Okay? So God has a will, you have a will. And your will, like for example, you coming to Leicester Square today. Did anybody force you? Did anybody compel you to come here? Or you came compel you to come here? Or did you come by your own volition?
Yeah, by own choice.
Yes, but you see, Allah already knew that you'll come here and that we both will have a communication. We'll have a dialogue. Are you with me?
Yeah, but
So which part of this doesn't make sense to you?
then say if I went to talk to like a Christian like you,
Yeah.
does he still like, think that this is my script?
Yeah.
I convert to Christianity.
No. Every religion have the reason why they believe in that. Okay?
So if Allah has a script for everything, then surely He also believes that
It's called a
everyone will
decree.
do Muslim
It's
as
not a
well.
script. It's a decree. So Allah knows what everyone is going to do. Okay? In fact, even if you change your mind, let's say you are going to do something and then you change your mind, even that has been, Allah knows that as well.
If He knows that, if He knows everything that
Yeah.
people do, then why at the end of life is everyone not Muslim? If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, if Allah will, He could have made everyone Muslim.
So why didn't He do that?
The reason is because Allah wants to test us.
Test us for what?
It's like you asking your teacher, why didn't you pass everyone?
Test us for what?
Say again?
Test us for what?
Test you for, well, like imagine if Allah just puts everyone in hellfire or in paradise. How is that reward or that punishment deserving for any of those people? See what I mean? So in order for you to deserve whatever punishment or reward you're getting, you have to go through this process of the test.
So you're saying if someone was like a rapist or a murderer,
Yeah.
and then they revert to Islam,
Yeah.
then they will go to heaven.
They have to go through the punishment, because you see there's two types of sins. One is where you commit sin against another human being, and one is you commit sin against Allah.
But that is both.
So say for example, if someone, oppress someone or kill someone, like you said, then that punishment will be deserved by that person. Okay? They can't just say, oh, I'm going to kill him, become a Muslim and get free. No, it doesn't work like that. So there will be consequences in this world. The law will get hold of them.
Will he go to hell if he?
Yeah, so let me finish this because you asked the question. And the thing with regards to Allah is that He's able to forgive if you commit a sin against Him. For example, let's say in the month of Ramadan we are supposed to fast, yeah? You know the Muslims fast in Ramadan. You heard of Ramadan? Yeah. So in the month of Ramadan we are to fast right before sunrise until after sunset. Okay, for that duration. If a Muslim deliberately does not fast for no reason whatsoever, then he's sinning. So Allah, if he turns to Allah and seeks his repentance, Allah is able to forgive him. right? So he's able to punish and he's also able to forgive.
So the rumor is.
So you understand the two types of sin. One is between human beings, and the other is between you and God. Okay? So the horizontal and the vertical sins, we have to understand this. Yeah. So you were asking something? Yeah. So you see, the Quran has a guidance. Allah created us. He didn't just send us to this world to basically just do whatever we feel like. Okay? Because if that was the case, then we wouldn't know what is our role or our objective in this world. Islam gives you the direction and the purpose. Okay? The purpose being to serve God and to worship Him and to do His will with your heart, by yourself, rather than someone imposing it on you. So by your own volition, you should do the will of Allah and submit to His will. And that will give you a purpose and a direction. And the direction that we aim for is paradise, is Jannah. Yeah? And that you can only enter Jannah by the mercy of God. Okay, many people think like, oh, it's your deeds that's making you enter paradise. But it's actually the mercy of Allah, mercy of God. Okay, but once we are there, the level in which you're going to be in the Jannah, the paradise has many levels. So where you belong, and the highest is Al-Firdaus. So it depends on your deeds then where you belong in this, amongst the layers within the Jannah. Okay, so you see, we in this world, imagine one day that, and we know for sure, like death is imminent. It doesn't matter whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God. Death is a fact which not even the atheists will deny. Okay? If you die and if I die and there is nothing after death, that's the end, yeah? No, it doesn't make sense. I'll tell you why. Let me finish. I'll tell you why it doesn't make sense.
Where is hell?
Hear me out, bro. Hear me out. Let me finish. If that was the case, by the way, let's say if that was the case, then neither you nor I need to worry about anything. You know why? Because that's the end. It doesn't matter how you lived your life, the death is the end. Yes. Yeah. So now look at the contrast. What if the end was a new beginning? What if death was a new beginning? Why does it not make sense? Say again? Oh, you want to see it physically? You will see it one day, don't worry. Either hell or heaven. But it might be too late by then, if it's a hell. So what I'm saying is that, look at the converse of that. If the death was not the end, and there was a life after that, and there are angels, and there is God, and there is hell and heaven, then you tell me sincerely, who's taking the bigger risk? Yeah. Okay. Who's taking the bigger risk here?
Not even us, right? It could have been someone.
Bigger risk in the sense that if I believe like you, like death is the end, in that case, neither of us are going to risk anything, isn't it? Because that is going to be the end. But if that was not the end,
What do you mean by risk?
risk means like you're not prepared for what is to come. See what I mean? And because for you, in your worldview, the death is the last thing, is the end, then neither of us are risking anything. But you see, in the converse example, where after death there is life after death, then who's taking the bigger risk? Because I have prepared and you have not.
How have I not prepared?
Because you said you don't care about religion, basically. That's what you told me.
Yeah.
So, because you haven't prepared, it's like you telling me,
Say if I'm a good person, but I'm not religious.
good according to whom? Good according to whom?
I'm caring for people. I do everything good,
Yeah, so your goodness,
but I don't believe in God.
no, but you see, it is like saying,
So
I have,
that goodness is God.
no, goodness, whatever goodness you do, you'll get your reward in this world. But we believe that the objective morality, the objective truth comes only from God. Yeah? So for example, something might be good for you, but not for your girlfriend. Yeah? It's subjective, isn't it? You might like something, she might not. And she might like something that you might not. Right? So good and bad are subjective. And everyone goes back, oh, I'm doing good. Yes? A woman who is aborting her child, she thinks she's doing good. Another person who is against abortion is saying, no, you're terrible, you're killing a potential life. See where I'm coming from? Yeah? So even things like murder can be good according to our
That's the bit that makes no sense.
Say again?
That's the bit that makes no sense.
Which part?
How can you say that murder is good in terms of like God?
Bro, abortion, is it murder or not?
No, it's not murder.
Really? So killing a child is not murder?
It's not a child.
Why do you think it's not a child?
Because it's not born yet.
Okay, so let me ask you something. When you were in your mother's womb, did she call you my baby? No? Oh, probably she did. Who are you to say she didn't? Go and ask her today.
That was because she wanted to have the baby.
No, she wanted to have a baby, so... No, wait. You said it's not a baby, based on your subjective understanding. But based on your mother's understanding, you were definitely a
She knows
baby.
there's going to be a baby.
Bro, listen. Based on your understanding and your worldview, a fetus is not a baby. But when the mother is saying this is my baby, by her understanding, even though you were a fetus,
Because she knows that I'm going to be a baby. Once I come out.
no, but that's what I'm saying. It's subjective view. The same. I'm talking about the same scenario about a mother being pregnant.
If I asked my mum whilst I was in her stomach, I mean, obviously not me, but if someone else asked her, she would not say that I'm a baby now. She would say that once I'm born, then I'm a baby.
Okay.
I'm
Every mother, when they know that they are pregnant, they refer to the baby as my baby.
because they're going to have the baby.
Even if they want to have, the point is, I'm still right. You said a fetus is never a baby, right? I'm saying the opposite
It
of
will
that.
become a baby, yeah.
Dude, when you're still a fetus, she called you my baby. That's the point.
Because she wants to have the baby. And
I
she
know.
knows that it
Look,
will come out.
you're not. I'm not asking you why she called it a baby. Do you see that where I'm coming from? I'm saying the same stage of fetus, the same stage. You're saying it's not a baby. She's saying it's a baby. Whether she wants to have it or not, that's a separate issue. I'm saying the same stage of pregnancy. Some people, they call it a baby. Some say, you know why you call it a fetus? Or why you say it's not a baby? Because this minimizes the guilt. Yes. Because if you call it a fetus, you're dehumanizing it. Why are you laughing?
Because you aren't human yet.
Why are you laughing?
Because you're not human yet.
Have you ever seen how an abortion takes place? Have you seen it? Exactly my point. That's the reason you're dehumanizing it. Dude, when you look at abortion, listen. When you look at the abortion, which you haven't done, all right? Within a few weeks, it develops like a human. Okay, maybe not fully developed yet. Listen. Before even the consciousness, let me ask you something. Would you pull out the limbs of a baby which doesn't have consciousness? That's what they do during abortion. That's what they do during abortion. How come it has limbs and a head, which they literally rip apart, and that's how the abortion takes place? I'm sorry to make this, because when you're in denial, when you have never seen an abortion, that is the reason, and you're trying to dehumanize it by calling it a fetus. When your mom at the same stage of pregnancy, call it a baby. A fetus is a scientific term for a baby which is not fully developed. But still a baby. It doesn't make sense to you. Maybe you should ask your mom, why did she call you a baby when you were a fetus?
My mum actually had an abortion.
That's irrelevant.
I know.
Okay? The fact is, you were born, but before you were born, before you were fully developed human, like you said, before even you had consciousness, your mom still called you a baby when you were in the womb.
Because she believes that I'm
Look, you can argue all day, but that's a fact. You can't deny it.
Okay, but that doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything?
It means that she knows
Okay.
that I'm going to be.
I'll tell you what. Next time when you meet me, go watch a video how they do abortion, and you say it means nothing. You know, you'll be shocked.
What if she calls me her baby now?
Say again?
What if she calls me her baby now?
What if she?
Calls me her baby now?
She has a baby?
No, like me.
Well,
Say if my mum calls
Yeah.
me a baby now.
calls your baby now. There's nothing wrong in that. If she wants to call you a baby, you're her baby. You'll always be her baby. So what? What's the point?
Point is,
You know why I brought the abortion bit? Why I brought the abortion example? Okay, to show you subjective understanding. That there are people in the world who are pro-abortion, there are anti-abortion people as well. Okay? Human beings will never agree on everything. There's always going to be disagreements amongst human beings. So whom are you going to turn to? When you have a disagreement amongst human beings, whom are you going to turn to? To say who's right and who's wrong? Who's going to be this arbitrator between you? Tell me, who's going to be? Or you're okay with the disagreements and the chaos?
Humans are meant to. Humans are meant to
Sorry?
resolve conflicts.
Second?
Humans are meant to resolve conflicts anyway.
But they don't. That's the thing. That's why we have wars.
That's why we have wars. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. This is human nature, brother.
know,
Disagreements are human nature. But you see, when
Nothing to do with God.
let me ask you something. Do you believe in morality?
Explain morality.
You said you were good. What do you mean by that?
Just the norms of being.
What is good?
Caring.
Who decides? Okay, so caring. Do you know what are morals, right? Morals, yeah. That's so. Anyone who has got, if you have good morals, then that comes under morality. But then, like I said, morality itself is subjective. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. There you go. At one point in history, slavery was perfectly moral. Are you aware of that? Because we didn't have the industrial era, so all the automation that we see today wasn't there back then. So everything used to be done by hand. So maybe your forefathers or my forefathers, they might have employed someone to do their work in the farm, maybe pay them very little or just give them food or something. To me, that's kind of slavery, isn't it? So slavery was perfectly moral at one time, and in fact, the governments encouraged it. Okay, in certain countries, apartheid is still okay. Yes, apartheid, where you discriminate one part of the citizens against another. Okay, so apartheid is still, like if you go to Israel, they are not treated equally over there. Even though they might have Israeli citizenship, those Arabs are looked at second class. All right, the way they're being treated. Same thing in South Africa when they did have apartheid. The blacks against the whites, remember? The whites had all the privileges, even though it was a country for the black people who were in majority. Okay, it was the white people who migrated there. So this is what I'm saying, brother. Subjective understanding is such that human beings will make things like slavery, like abortion, like apartheid, they'll make all of this legal, just like the wars are legal today. You know? So who is to say who is right and who is wrong if everyone is...
So then how can you prove God if it's...
No, but you see, the most
God
plausible,
is also subjective,
just
right?
like I said, the most plausible explanation for the origin of the universe is God. Similarly, the most plausible explanation of having an objective arbitrator between the disagreements we have is also God. Because only God can say, okay, like for example, I'll tell you what, the things that are mentioned in the Quran as haram, you know what is haram? Things which are haram.
Yeah, haram.
Okay, it's prohibited. So the things which are prohibited or haram in the Quran are things like alcohol, gambling, fornication, adultery, telling lies, murder, all these things. Would you agree? Would you disagree with any of them? That they should be prohibited? You wouldn't. You would say, okay, all of them I agree with, right?
Telling lies could benefit you.
And do you think that's right?
Say for kidnappers.
What if it benefits you and it harms somebody else? Like for example, say again?
What if it doesn't?
No, I'm saying lying normally it does. It is.
Normally, but there's the...
Yeah, there are certain exceptions. I'm not talking about the exceptions. By the way, exceptions don't make a rule. I'm talking generally.
Generally.
Yeah, generally. So generally, lying is bad. Generally speaking, drinking alcohol is bad. Okay, gambling is bad. Fornication is bad. Adultery is bad. Do you agree?
So in the book, does it have these exceptions?
Yeah. The exceptions are in the hadith, or the exceptions are in the basically when the ulama, the scholars, they give the verdict based on the teachings of the Quran and Sunnah. Yeah, some exceptions also in the Quran.
Like,
For example, lying when you have to save yourself, for example. Say if somebody holds a gun to your head and say, okay, become a Hindu. Yeah? And if the guy, says it verbally, but in his heart is still a Muslim, then there's no harm. There's no punishment for that. Okay? So that's why I'm saying exceptions do not make the rule. So generally speaking, everything Allah has prohibited, it will make sense to you and me. And that is what an objective morality is. You see what I mean? Otherwise, we will always be in disagreement and you will have no one to say that who is right and who is wrong. We need someone to make that final call.
if something is subjective, then it can't be proven right or wrong.
Give me an example.
Say say if we're playing football, say if we're playing football, say if you think you're better at me than football, but I think I'm better, would you go to God and say,
Sorry, if you're better in what?
football?
Football. And what's wrong with that? You could be better than me in football,
Yeah, but
especially at my age.
but it's subjective. Right?
Sorry?
But it is.
No, it's not, because you can make this claim and we can only find out the objective truth on the football field.
Yes,
So you can make a claim, we won't know the objective verdict of that until we play football against each other. See what I mean? But I don't think that's a good example. I don't know exactly what he meant. Because we are talking about things which are harmful, and that's the reason Allah has made it prohibited. Take for example, do you consider adultery to be wrong? Yeah. Yeah? You do. What about having many girlfriends?
medical friends.
Many girlfriends. Fornication. Is that good or bad? It's bad? Why?
It's just not right.
Why? They think it's okay. The girls think okay. If you think it's okay, what's wrong with it? So why would you say it's bad? If everyone's enjoying and everyone is giving the consent, why is it bad?
It's not moral.
Why is it not moral? That's a good one actually. I was expecting you to say that. You see, when you said that is not moral, based on whose standards? Because the country you live in, that's not. By the way, that's not. It's not a crime. Yeah, it's not a crime. But if you were married and you had another wife, then that's a crime.
So it's not a crime.
It is. If you have two wives, it's called bigamy.
Yeah.
In this country, it's a crime.
Cheating is not a crime.
No, I'm not talking about cheating. But that's what I'm trying to tell you. The cheating part, which you consider as immoral, that is not a crime. But where you legitimately have two wives, and they both get the consent to marry you, and you're responsible for their upkeep, then that is a crime. You see where I'm coming from? That's why we need an arbitrator, okay, which makes objective decisions for us, not something that benefits the government, or benefits the individual, or benefits your whims and desires, for example. See what I mean? And that's the reason we need God. And that makes sense. Because you're still young, you got a lot to learn, I understand. And this will come with experience. This will come once you understand the world around you. The more you understand, the more you will come to the conclusion, especially once you have your own children, right? And you see all the immorality in the society. And you start telling them that's immoral, that's immoral. And they'll tell you, Dad, it's not a crime. It's not a crime to have a boyfriend when I'm 14. What are you going to say? Nothing, right? But do you think that's immoral?
What, having a boyfriend at 14?
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Do you know how many teenage pregnancies happen because of that in this country? So it's not immoral?
Well, it depends on the child.
You're not developed yet to become a father or a mother. So how is that not immoral? You're literally putting your child at harm in that case.
Yeah,
See what I mean? How is that not immoral? Because I thought you said immoral was something that is harming someone.
It is immoral.
Okay, but you just said it wasn't.
You said having a boyfriend at 14 is immoral.
Yeah, because you see, when you are a girlfriend and boyfriend at a very young age, then there is the chances of pregnancy increases.
Then
And
it's immoral.
yeah, but you see, that is immoral. I mean,
Not having a boyfriend.
if you were going to say it's immoral from the time when they are very young, yes, to have a relationship, that itself, that point itself, is immoral. You heard of this saying that precaution is better than cure? Okay, you're putting yourself in harm's way. It's like me saying, okay, I'm going to go near the fire, okay, and hopefully it won't burn me. And I keep going closer to it, hoping it won't burn me. But you see, there will come a time when I keep doing that, it will burn me. So that's why you have to take precaution before you're harmed. See what I mean? And that is what the teaching of Islam instills in us. Because we are not going based on trial and error during every generation. We have a code of conduct, a moral code that tells us how we should behave in our society, and that moral code has been the same since the Quran was revealed 1400 years ago. Okay, and that's what I meant earlier when I said it is a guidance which shows you the path, which gives you direction and purpose as well. So do you think we need God now, or do you still think we should just go about our daily life as it is? Yeah? And even after listening to all this, you're saying it's okay, yeah? All right. What about all the problems that the world faces because of not believing in God? How?
Explain.
I just explained the whole thing to you for like nearly 40 minutes.
What are the problems?
The problems, I mentioned teenage pregnancies.
That's,
You know why that happens mostly? Because people do not have any, there's no consequences. That's what they're imagining, that there's no consequences to my action. It is like someone saying, I will go through the traffic lights when it's red because there are no cameras around. But once you know the cameras are around, you'll slow down. Why is that? Because you know the consequences. So every system has reward and has punishment as well. So if you do something that's wrong and you break the system, then there is consequence for that. So your life considered as a system, and there is for you to use your own free will, but responsibly. Because that is what is responsibly? Means you do the will of God. You submit to the will of God. That is what you would be doing responsibly, living your life in this world. Otherwise, it'll be like I said, the guy who goes through the red light thinking there's no consequence. He might harm someone, yeah? He doesn't care because there's no consequence. When there is no consequence, and this is human nature, by the way. You know, the scientists have actually done studies on this, that they would leave them in a room where they could basically take anything, and there's no cameras there. And they would actually steal in that circumstance because they know there's no consequence, because no one is observing, and there won't be any evidence against them. But as soon as they put some fake cameras, not real cameras, because they saw the cameras there, they said, now I can be caught. And they did not steal in that test. Okay? So you think the life is just like that for you to go about your whims and desires the way you like? You're only worried about the law, right? But if there's no law which prevents you, like for example, multiple girlfriends. No, there's no law against, in this country, you can have multiple girlfriends. You can't be persecuted for that. Yeah? But it is bad. Like you said, it's immoral, right? So who is going to instill this morality in you when the law in the country doesn't? Afterwards, brother. Let me finish this. Thank you. Yeah? Do you see what I mean? So objective morality is very important for us to lead a life of real morality, not just something that satisfies our whims and desires. What about alcohol? Do you think alcohol is good or bad?
Well, it's good if you limit it, but...
Who told you that?
Huh?
Who told you that?
It's not good for you.
No. Oh, what do you mean by limiting? Limiting for whom? Somebody else?
Just
or yourself? Say again?
Just have fun. If you like it, then...
Yeah, but do you know
It has consequences if you over-drink it.
No, there's no such thing. The latest studies which have been published in medical journals, like peer-reviewed journals, okay, they say that even a small quantity of alcohol is, like they basically said that no quantity of alcohol is good for you. That was the headlines when it came out, the studies. Yeah? So, but look around you. Like this is Leicester Square, you know, you got so many pubs and nightclubs here. Yeah? They serve alcohol. It's perfectly legal. And there's no check on how much alcohol you can drink. No check at all. You can binge drink all night if you want. Yeah? How is that good? Yeah? So even small quantities, for example, why do they prevent women who are pregnant from drinking alcohol completely? Why?
It's not good for you or the baby. So.
Yeah, exactly. And you see, it's not good for you whether you're pregnant or not pregnant, whether you're male or female, because ultimately it's going to impact your liver. Same thing with cigarettes. Yeah, but you see, the government, they make it legal, they earn a lot of revenue from it, right? No care about the welfare of the people. Okay, you know why? Because they're earning money from it. So the last thing on their mind is your welfare or mine. And someone who might not be drinking at all, like myself, I could get hit by a car, someone who's the driver is drunk. See what I mean? So if you look at the statistics of the people who die because of alcohol. Give me a rough idea. How many die in a year? In a year, around the world.
Thousands?
Millions. 2.7 million. When was the last time you have seen a war in your lifetime? Or in your parents' lifetime? When 2.7 million people died? Every year, brother, every year. Can you imagine that? And this is based on the data they have. A lot of data, I'm sure, is not even collected and reported.
That's not because they don't believe in God.
No, I'm saying that's the impact of something which the governments have made legal. You see where I'm coming from? But God has made it illegal or prohibited for that reason, because of the impact it has on you as an individual and the community as a whole as well.
So you're saying
Same thing with gambling. Again, gambling is legal, okay, but the government makes a lot of money from it. They don't care about whom it impacts.
So if everyone believed in God, then there would be no bad.
I'm not saying that. You see, people who believe in God can commit sins, can be disobedient, but at least they have a moral framework under which they can work. They can always say that what I did was wrong, all right? God, please forgive me. And then he'll try to correct himself and become a better person. But does Allah allow that person to sin again? Yes. He can sin again and he can seek forgiveness again.
Doesn't make any sense.
Which part doesn't make sense? So you're saying God shouldn't forgive?
No.
Then?
Say if you sinned badly by killing someone.
Yeah, that's a major sin. I already told you there's consequence for that.
Yeah.
So you see, Islam actually gives punishment which are much harsher than a few decades in the prison. Okay? Because a person who murders, they can go for 20 years in the prison and come back out. Right? And maybe they can reoffend. Islam gives you death penalty for that if it's convicted. If the murderer is convicted in the court with all the evidence, they get death penalty. There's no second chance for that person. So you see, Islam has basically provision even for that. So which part doesn't make sense to you so far? Because I think you agreed with everything I said. It's just that you're saying doesn't make sense. I don't know why. You haven't given us your reason.
I just don't believe that religion. I think it's man-made. I think over the years.
Yeah, but you think, you feel. That's not evidence. It's just a claim. Can you show us it's man-made?
Can you prove that?
I just give you
Prove that's not man-made.
I gave you an entire hour. Why we believe Allah exists? Why God exists?
Why you believe He exists?
Yeah, but I gave you the reason behind
He
it.
exists.
Hold on. When you say actual, okay, what proof will satisfy you? Let's start with that. What proof will satisfy you that God exists?
Just any sort of proof that
Give me an example of a proof you're desiring.
I don't know any proof because
So you see, if you don't know what
there is no proof.
No, hold on.
There is no way of proving.
You're making a claim against. Okay, once again you're making a claim without backing up what reason you're making the claim. So when you're seeking something, then you should know what you're seeking. But if you don't know, then what's the point of asking for proof? It's like saying, I lost my keys. And you go around telling everyone, I lost my keys. Can you find it for me? And they ask you, obviously, what does it look like? And you say, I don't know. And they're going to laugh at you. Because you're seeking something that you don't know. You see what I mean? So when you say, give me proof, what will satisfy you as evidence and proof?
I think surely if someone believed in God, they would have to prove that God exists rather than disproving that He doesn't exist.
No, you said there is no God. That is a claim.
Yeah.
Yes? So when I asked you, wait. I said I'm willing to give you the evidence, but you don't know what sort of evidence you're seeking.
Yes.
Give me an example of the evidence, because I can give you several examples like the way I did during this conversation, but they will not satisfy you. So now I'm asking you, I've tried from my side, now you tell me what sort of evidence. Okay, then don't ask for proof then.
Because I don't believe that there is any proof for God existence.
Okay, then why asking for proof then? If you've already made up your mind, and by the way, you're not an agnostic, you're an atheist. So earlier you said agnostic.
I don't really know.
Well, you don't know you're agnostic or atheist either?
Yeah.
You haven't made up your mind yet? Okay, so you're not certain man. That's fine, you're not certain.
Yeah.
But just now you made a positive claim that God doesn't exist.
Yeah.
That is a positive claim, and only atheists make that
Yeah,
claim.
probably more on the atheist side than I am on the I don't know side.
Yeah, but you see, an atheist, when they say, give me proof, and then when we ask you what sort of proof will satisfy you, you're saying, I have no idea. That doesn't make sense.
No, because they don't believe that God exists. So then how can they ask for like
No, but
certain
you're demanding proof.
Yeah, but how can they know what certain proof there is?
My point exactly. Why are you demanding proof if you don't know what sort of proof you want?
Yeah, so then how can
I wouldn't demand proof if I don't know what I was expecting from someone. It is a point that no one will ever make. They haven't thought it through. Only they will say such things. Give me proof. But I don't know what kind of proof, man. Come on, seriously? I told you, the only plausible explanation for the universe existing is someone who has the attributes of God. Okay? And that is a necessary being. Go and study about that. Why we have to believe in God, and why there has to be a necessary being who is not dependent or contingent on anything. Everything in the universe is contingent. Do you agree? The universe itself, the laws of the universe.
Yeah.
The universe is dependent on those laws. Yeah? Otherwise it'll collapse. So even the universe is dependent. It cannot be God. It cannot be eternal. So what brought this into existence? Such a beautiful, complex universe. And we still haven't talked about our own self, our physiology, our body. Okay, I'll tell you something. I'll give you a similar example which you're demanding about God. Do you have any proof you're conscious? Objective proof that you're conscious. Why? Are you conscious, by the way? You see, every scientist is conscious. But there is something called the hard problem of consciousness. Have you come across this term? Go and look it up. Something called the hard problem of consciousness, because the same people who keep demanding proof of God, are you listening? Those people who keep demanding proof of God, they don't have the evidence for their own consciousness. Okay? Upon which everything that you ask, everything that you reflect upon, everything you reason, it depends on your consciousness. Yeah? So anyway, if you have no consciousness evidence, it doesn't mean you're not conscious, right? Similarly, if you don't find the proof you're seeking about God, doesn't mean God doesn't exist. If you have to go, that's fine. What's your name?
Jay.
Jay, I'm Hashim. Nice meeting you. You take care, yeah? All right, no problem. Alhamdulillah, may Allah give him hidayah. Young man with his young girlfriend. The one who was wearing a hijab, she was actually an atheist. I was surprised. We all were surprised. But anyway, I think Ali Dawah is going to have that video, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.